Good afternoon. It is January 30th, and this is Three Things with Ian. Let's dive in. My first thing is a article that was brought to my attention yesterday by a listener. It nicely dovetails into my love of reading and literature. Bookshop.org launches new ebook platform that exclusively supports local bookstores. This is fantastic, right? This is one of the huge barriers to entry for local bookstores, right? They have all these cute displays to get people in the stores, but they can't compete with the ebooks because those are sold on platforms that they have no control over and no business getting any monetary compensation from. So I haven't read the full article, but it sounds like independent bookstores will finally be able to sell ebooks, right? And they will be able to get proceeds and monies from that transaction. Potentially, this is a massive deal for the book industry because since 2009, when ebooks kind of took over, people like myself pretty much exclusively delve in ebooks. I get mine from Libby, from the public library, and I support them that way. But brick and mortar stores, a lot of them are struggling, right? It's inevitable. Small stores always struggle, including small bookstores. And so the idea that ebooks can be sold and some of that money can go to those stores is fantastic. So I'm very excited about this. I have no idea what this will mean or what this will do, but it's a topic near and dear to my heart, and hopefully most of my listeners, many of my listeners, also really appreciate good quality literature and want to support the non-Barnes & Nobles of the world, right? RIP Borders. So this is a fun thing. Let's see let's all track this together, shall we? Okay, so my number two thing is we live in a world where we have foods that kind of are disguised as other foods or have these secondary or tertiary properties, right? So we have cereals that are loaded up with extra protein, or we have yogurt that has extra protein, or all these other additional things, right? It's a food, and they're adding in another dietary item that you're lacking, right? So Poppi is kind of the newest, maybe not the newest, but it's a healthy soda that kind of has these prebiotic, billions of prebiotic sort of cultures, right? Similar to you would see this in yogurt or sort of dairy products, right? I'm a huge fan of seltzer. Love LaCroix. If I could drink just LaCroix, I would. Some days I do. But I'm taking the under on this because all of the studies I've researched on sort of the Poppi sodas, 2 grams of dietary fiber, 7%. That's a drop in the bucket. And I have actually had the Aldi's version of Poppi, and they have, I believe, 7 or 9 grams of dietary fiber. At that level, that does make a difference. But here's the deal, guys. We need more fiber. Let's just find ways to incorporate eating fiber-rich foods. I'm kind of over this trend of like the subterfuge foods, where we try to like circumvent eating something normal, and we get it in the form of something else, right? So I do appreciate this is only 4 grams of sugar. That's a remarkably low level of sugar compared to essentially any other soda on the market. But 2 grams of dietary fiber is probably going to do nothing to your digestive system. So although I do appreciate the apple cider vinegar and the lack of sugar, let's just eat raisins and legumes, and let's get that fiber other ways. And if you want the protein, like you saw me eat that synthetic protein bar, that was god-awful, right? So let's just let's just get the nutrients we need. Take a vitamin. That's been a hallmark of diets for decades. Those Flintstones vitamins. Let's just take those. So that's my number 2, is these sort of subterfuge foods, I'm calling them. I just made that up. I don't know if that's a real thing. My third thing, and it's amazing how you have 3 things in your brain and then you look down and you forget them all. Okay, my newest thing is what's in a name. We have a new hockey team, the Utah Hockey Club. That's what they go by now, right? They joined. This is their first year. They're playing in the Delta Center, which alone is also not a true. It's a facility that the Utah Jazz play in. It's not a true hockey arena. I know there are some weird sight lines, some weird problems. But what I want to talk about today is the names. So they're going to get an actual name. They're not going to be called the Utah Hockey Club, maybe, asterisks. I think this is good, although I love the trend. I love soccer. I love global sports. A lot of those, Liverpool FC, football club. You don't have a traditional name. You're not the Sonics or the Blazers or whatever. I do think that in America we've established a precedent where team names should be fun things. Vipers and Cardinals and Bears, right? And so the Utah Hockey Club is trying to get a traditional moniker, traditional namesake. They tried for the Utah Yetis. They were blocked because people, I guess, would have confused a hockey team with a overpriced water beverage holder. Anyway, different podcast, I guess. But there are 3 names right now. There are 3 top names. I kid you not. They could be the Utah Mammoth, the Utah Wasatch. I haven't Googled that, but I'm hoping it's a Native American thing. Or the Hockey Club. And so I've already ixnayed Hockey Club. We have too many decades of picking Cardinals and Bears and things like that, actual mascots. We can't start in the 4 traditional professional sports teams just to be named after cities. We just can't right now. So really you have 2 names. You have Mammoth and the Wasatch. Hope I'm saying that right from the Utahians. Sorry. Obviously it's Mammoth. I think Yetis would have been the better name, but Mammoth is pretty good. I guess it depends on if you really like when teams have names that represent that area. But I think most teams, Detroit Lions, there's no Lions in North America. Arizona Cardinals, I don't think Arizona is a climate that's very conducive to Cardinals. I mean, I'm sure they're there, but they're not just there. So, I mean, mammoths obviously prehistorically roamed the middle of the North American subcontinent. It's not a terrible name. It does invoke some sort of colder feelings, adjectives. Utah can be a very cold place, winter wonderland. It's got to be the mammoth. I think that you could have gone with the Sasquatch. You could have leaned into a Native American thing. Indigenous names are really good. You know, I think that you probably could have gone with Yetis, except for the fact that you lost that lawsuit. I think Utah Mammoth is the best of those options, but those are abysmal options for a professional sports team. I cannot believe that there aren't more creative names. So go Utah Mammoth. I don't think they will lose. I think that is the name to beat. Anyway, those are my 3 things. So we have bookshop.org that is going to support local bookstores through ebook purchases that we all do every day, every millisecond. And then we have what's in a team name. And then we also have our sort of healthy soda, which is an oxymoron. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this episode. A lot of fun putting it together. Welcome to those who are longtime listeners. And for those that this is their first episode and they've made it this far, congratulations and thank you. I appreciate your support. I will see you guys all tomorrow for the 31st episode.